The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
My name is Jasmine, and I am a recovering drug addict.
My name is Richie Farrell, aka the Old White Junkie.
And we are your hosts for Exit Team Nashua.
Our mission is to bring recovery into the living room.
Last year, over 72,000 Americans died of an accidental overdose.
That's almost 200 Americans every single day.
We will bring you guests with real-life experiences with addiction and recovery. Welcome to Exit Team Nashua. Hi, welcome to Exit Team Nashua. My name is Jasmine, and I am your host. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is our second show of the night. If you're just tuning in and you haven't been following us, hop over to our Facebook page. It's called I Am a Heroin Addict. Yes, I said it right. I am a heroin addict. And give us a like and go ahead and follow for content daily. For addiction, resources available for those who suffer from addiction, people's stories of hope, and of course, this show is launched off of that Facebook page. So go over there and give us a like. So I'm pretty excited about tonight's second show. I don't actually know our guest personally, but someone that I do know spoke very highly of her and thought that it would be a really good show. I'm kind of like a weirdo. And I go off of people's energy. And I know when you got here, you were like pretty timid, but you have a bright light to you and you have a good life source to you. And I've seen you in person, before, but when you walked in, I was like, all right, she's good peeps. You can feel that you your gut, your intuition, who you are, So, who are you?
I'm Shannon, and I'm a grateful recovering heroin addict.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Isn't it so cool? I'm a heroin addict, so now I get to go on TV.
I know, it's crazy. I mean, I've been nervous all day. Yesterday I wasn't, but today I'm anxious all day. But at the end of the day, this is what I love to do, is to help other people find their way into sobriety, because I'm just grateful to be sober today. You
literally can't, all you have to do is honor your truth. You can't mess this up, right?
Right.
You know your truth.
Exactly. So, absolutely.
And the best thing about this show is the dirtier it is, the more that we love it, because that's the more you can help someone. Every person that has the excuse, the reason, or the justification that they can't do this, yes, you can. Let me show you. Look at Shannon.
Absolutely.
Everything Shannon's been through. Don't tell me you can't do it. She made it out.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, so you're a heroin addict.
Yes.
So some people that come on this show, actually a lot of people that come on this show, they talk about feelings of being uncomfortable in their skin, or some people are trauma survivors, but most people that come on the show can identify with some underlying cause or condition that was there before they ever picked up a drink or a drug. What was growing up for you?
Honestly, I was born to two addict parents.
Yeah.
My biological parents were addicts. I was actually born addicted to drugs. But thankfully, not thankfully, but my father passed away when I was 18 months old, and my mother lost custody of me when I was 2.5. But I was adopted by family. So I actually had a fairly good upbringing, but I did, during my childhood, always felt I didn't belong in a sense, because I wasn't their natural born child.
Yeah.
So that was a struggle growing up for me. I didn't fit in school. I was picked on a lot and stuff like that. But drugs weren't a part of my life until after high school. My mother was very strict. She sheltered me in a sense, you know what I mean? So it kept me from that lifestyle. But I'll tell you what, the second I picked up a drug, I knew all bets were off. I was screwed. I feel that there's different aspects of environmental, you're hanging around people using, you become an addict. For me, I feel my biological parents were addicts. I was born addicted. I felt me picking up a drug was inevitable, that I was going to become a drug addict.
I mean, there's the science behind the being predisposed
right.
to there's that. There's like the trauma and the underlying causes and conditions of being bullied. There's, you
Mhm.
know, even though like you are so blessed to have like, you know, have been adopted by family and have a good
Mhm.
upbringing, there that's still like traumatic and you know, causes feelings of like unworthiness. Like, you know, like
Mhm.
why don't I have my real mom and dad? You
Mhm.
know? Absolutely. Okay, so you were pretty sheltered. So growing up through middle school was there bullying?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much was bullied all the way up through like probably like my sophomore year in high school. Then I started like coming into my, wearing makeup and dressing nicer, doing my hair, things like that.
Yeah.
Boys starting to like me, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? I was never popular. Like I had my group of friends though. I had some solid friendships in high school, but like I just never really fit in.
Mhm.
Um, so that was a hard time,
Yeah.
regardless. I mean, I remember times where like I'd go home and I'd be crying and poor me and all this, but I never really, it's like I've always had this, like, I'm trying to think of what I'm looking for. Like, I always had this strong shell. Like, no matter what happened to me, like, I'd still carry myself like it didn't happen. Like, even though inside
So
I
just like
was
stuffed everything.
right,
Yeah.
right. So that I think that's probably another reason why when I found drugs, it was like, whoa,
Yeah,
okay, I don't
let's
have
take
to
it
feel
away.
any of that stuff
Yeah.
anymore.
The
You know
kids
what I
are
mean?
vicious.
Yeah.
I got like really bullied in like elementary school and I learned very quickly that to like protect myself from that, like to be a bully.
Mm,
And isn't it crazy that like to prevent myself from being hurt, like I inflicted harm onto others?
absolutely, I get that
Yeah.
though.
Kids are mean. I was mean at
Hmm.
times. I was really mean. Okay, so you never felt like okay in your own skin. So
Mm.
you made it through high school?
Yes, I did. I
Yeah,
graduated high
you
school.
graduated
Yeah.
high
Oh,
school?
yeah. And then I told you my mom was very strict. Like got kicked out because I was dating someone a couple years older than me. My mom told me that wasn't a thing. I told her I'm almost 18. She said, "There's the door." So I was out on my own at 17, and
Wow.
I met my first kid's father
Yep.
at the age of 18, and I had my son right before I turned 19. So like instead of going to college and furthering my running career, I started making, poor choices. I'm grateful for my son, such an
Yeah.
amazing boy. He just turned 18 in August, last
Wow. Hold
August.
on. How old are you?
37.
Wow, you aged great.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you. But yeah, so it wasn't until my son was like 18 months old that I picked up a drug. And it was like the people I was hanging out with that were doing it. And like eventually one day I just said, let me try some of that. And it
What'd
started
you
off with
try?
cocaine for me. And I did like the parties and the nightclubs and stuff like that. And like, but the more I did the cocaine, the more I wanted to come down. Then I started doing downers, OC80s back then, and then heroin. And before you know it, I was IV user. You know what I mean? It happened so fast for me.
Yeah.
And then I started doing my first. Because I'm from Massachusetts, and like there's a lot of detoxes and treatments and holdings and
So
halfway
hold on, I want
houses
to
and
slow down. So
yeah,
so you had your first son at the age of 19.
yeah,
When
almost
he
19, yeah.
was 18 months old, you got introduced to cocaine.
Mhm,
Very quickly, you found Oxy 80s.
mhm.
When you said that, I was like, holy cow, I forgot. Like, Oxy 80s are a huge part of my story, but I forgot about them because, like,
Yeah,
we talk about the opioid epidemic and heroin, and, like, that's how it ended
mm,
for me. And so very quickly, you moved to heroin.
yeah, oh yeah,
Were you
quickly.
an IV user?
When I first started, I sniffed, but I literally weeks before I had a needle in my arm.
And how long had you been using, heroin before you went to that first detox?
Okay, so let's see. I mean, it was right before I turned 19, so it's like 21. Quick. I mean, I
Quick,
knew that there
yeah.
was a problem fast. Like
Okay.
like I said, when I put a drug in my body, I was like, uh-oh. You know what I mean? Like I knew all bets were off that it was gonna be a problem. It was gonna be a daily problem. Like I loved the feeling, but I was terrified. And I think that's because I knew like growing up that what it did to my biological parents, that it was not a good thing, but at the same time I was escaping reality. I think I was 21 my first
And
detox.
so you went to mass and back in the day, there were like tons of detox. I remember in New Hampshire,
Mhm.
we used to always make up lies to get into detoxes
Mhm.
down in Mass. Okay, and so what happened?
I went to my first detox, and it was literally detox out and started using. I did that over the next few years. Like it would be detox and back out to using. So it's a spin dry, so I wouldn't be sick. And then when I had gotten
So you'd
arrested,
go in there and get like a methadone taper.
yes, I did.
Okay.
Methadone taper. Yeah, that's how every time I detoxed in Massachusetts, I did it with a methadone taper.
And then you would leave with the intent to get high?
Pretty much. I
Okay.
mean, I've left treatment with people before, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
with the absolute intent to use. It wasn't until I went into treatment when I was 24 years old. I went into detox, and from detox, I like had the desire
Yeah.
to like stay clean and sober. So I went into treatment from detox. I went into a TSS in South Weymouth.
Okay.
I don't know if it's even still there, but it's called New Hope back then. And from there, I went into a halfway house in Brockton. And long-term treatment, like that's when I realized that like that's the way to go to
Yeah.
get sober. Like,
Yeah, if
I
you-
mean, at least for me, you know what I mean? Like that's what I needed. So
I mean, I think for most people, there are the scientific facts behind that. Like people will argue that, but you know, if you're someone that suffers from the hopeless condition such as I, you know, there is scientific behind it that your brain really needs that time to heal to form those new neural pathways.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely. And like, so I did the halfway house for, I think it was like 9 months, but like in total, I was in treatment for over a year.
That's awesome.
And like I was going to meetings, I did step work then, all that. And I managed to maintain sobriety for 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I ended
Well,
up, I
then,
have,
was your soul on fire during that 9 years? Like, did
for
you?
5 of the years, I'm not gonna lie, for my first
Wow.
5,
You were on fire.
I felt great. For the last 4, I wasn't doing meetings.
Yeah, isn't it crazy? Like when you stop doing those things, like you feel it, and then when
Mhm.
when you don't feel good, you rationalize and justify your behaviors and how you can do this and do
Yeah.
that, and then before you know it, you've fallen off.
Yeah, it was mental relapse
Accountability.
before the relapse, absolutely. And
Yeah.
like now that I look back on it, like I know what I was doing wrong, you know what I mean? But like while I'm still sober, so I'm fine. You know what I mean? I was telling myself that, you know what I
People
mean?
in my life are like, why do you still go to those meetings? Why do you do this? Like, why do you do that? And I'm very, very rigid and disciplined about what I do, but my life is really good. And I'm like, you don't get it. I will die if I don't do this. I've tried
Mhm.
it every other way. Like I have to be rigid. I have to be vigilant. I have and yeah, like it requires a lot of work to do those things. But at the end of the day, dude, like my soul's on fire most of the time. Most of the days, like I am a vibrant life source. And it's
Mhm.
because of the work that I put in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was taking care of my children. I had a roof over our heads.
How many kids did you have at
I
this
have
point?
4 total.
Did you have 4 then?
Well, okay, so I have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 13-year-old, and an 18-year-old.
Okay.
So my
That
13-year-old's,
seems really stressful.
yeah, my 13-year-old's with her father and has
Okay.
been. And my son's been with his grandparents since he was 18 months old.
Okay.
But my 2 youngest, I was taking care of them daily, and I was with their father. We had an apartment, you know what I mean? Like I was
During this 9 years.
I was a
of sobriety.
stay-at-home mom,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like, but
Yeah.
I kept the house clean. You know, I brought his other children from his prior to school. You know what I mean?
That's a lot of
I
work.
did
Yeah.
the daily routine of being a mom, but like I wasn't doing anything for myself.
Mhm.
Like I lost myself.
Mhm.
Like I said, 5 years, and then the last 4 years was just like I was not happy. Even though I was doing my routine as a mother, I wasn't doing any work on myself.
Yeah.
And like I fell apart, you know what I mean? And that like I didn't use until after what happened to me, but like I know that like if I had kept that lifestyle of meetings and connection, human connection and sponsorship and all that, like chances are I probably could have stayed sober. But like I don't want to go back to that and like think like I could have changed it around. You know, things happened the way they happened. But I feel like if I had a stronger connection and was working a program, there was a good chance I might have been able to stay clean.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So the end of my sobriety was like me and my kid's father separated, my youngest two. And, you know, he was the one paying for the apartment. So he asked me to move out. I moved out. I started dating somebody that was brand new, didn't know him, you know what I mean? Didn't know anything about him. We dated for about 4 months. And then I had my girls one day and he assaulted me right in front of them. You know, near death assault. Like he tried to strangle me to death right in front of them. Thankfully, his mother came in and like shocked him out of it by just yelling his name. Like he let go, he looked down, realized, wow, and he took off. And like he ran. And my daughter's father said, like, if you don't press charges, I'm gonna call DCYF. Well, I wouldn't. I was scared. I didn't go to the police. So he called DCYF. DCYF like got involved and like I had to go press charges like to be in my kid's life. And so I did. And they put out warrants for his arrest. And like I started getting threatening phone calls from him. And a week after
And you
this,
stayed sober through all of
yeah,
this?
a week after he assaulted me, he came back and kidnapped me. So he brought me up north with him and he held me against my will for a couple months. You know, there's a lot to that story. I just don't want to get into because it's pretty in depth. But end result was like on October 11th, 2016, he put a bullet in my head. If it wasn't for people being in the room when I got shot, I'd be dead.
Wow.
You know, it wasn't for a higher power saying you have a purpose on this earth. Like I'm not taking you right now. Like you have more to do in life. You know what I mean? And I don't know why I didn't just cling to the fact that I got to survive through that, but like I had a lot of fear and anxiety when I got out of the hospital daily. Like I couldn't deal with it. And when I left the hospital, I was on heavy opiates. I was on Dilaudid. They sent me home with like I think it was like 120, 240, some odd, like a ton
Did
of.
he shoot you with the intent to kill you?
Shoot me with the intent to kill me. Yeah,
Okay, wow.
he put the gun right to my temple. And the bullet traveled through my face, came out my neck, and lodged into my left shoulder. Spent 20 days in Dartmouth Hitchcock, Lebanon. They had to reconstruct my eye, wire my mouth shut. I have like nerve damage and paralysis on the right side of my face. Fortunate to be here.
Yeah, you're a
You
miracle.
know,
Holy
yeah, definitely
cow.
fortunate to be here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, when I got released, they gave me medications and I started abusing them right away. Like right when I got out of the hospital, I was taking more than what I was prescribed. Before you knew it, I was shooting the Dilaudid. And when I went to go try to fill a script with my primary, after those were gone, you know what I mean? And it was on after that. I didn't stop unless the cops stopped me. I came up here in 2017 to try and get clean. I went into the Solution House after RCA.
Yeah.
I was one of the first 4 girls in that house.
Yeah.
I was doing like 3 meetings a day. I didn't have a sponsor, but I was doing the meetings. I was working, I was paying my rent, like I was doing great. But at the time I was like only a year after I got shot. So I was having petit mal seizures and they considered me a liability and they asked me to leave, which is okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm in an area I don't really know. And like I went into the respite that was below Harbor Homes.
That's the old school Nashua.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't sit with self in that basement and like I wasn't feeling the greatest. So I left with a couple of people and then I went to the respite in Manchester that's no longer their Serenity place for like 6 weeks. And they ended up asking me to leave because I was talking about getting high and it was triggering other people. And that's when my run just went crazy. I was homeless under a bridge. I was, you know, in trap houses. I was just a vicious drug addict. I mean, every day my only priority was how to get high. to the point where I started to sell drugs. I didn't want to struggle out there, so it's like everybody ends up getting a hustle on how they get high. My hustle was to sell drugs.
Yeah.
So like I started picking up charges, and like the longer I stayed out there and like running from the cops because I didn't check in with probation and all this, the more serious my charges were getting every time I got picked up.
Yeah.
So this last time I got caught with quite a bit of stuff, and I didn't know where it was going to go. Like, I thought there was a glimmer of hope that like I might get released to a program, because like at this point in time, I'm not a convicted felon. So I'm like, I'm not that bad. Like, I got a 2-page record. It's not that serious. You know what I mean? But like in all actuality, like it got real serious while I was in there. My case went federal. And honestly, like if it wasn't for COVID, I would still be incarcerated, I believe. I got released on the ankle bracelet May 1st.
Of last year?
2019?
Okay.
No, 2020, sorry. May 1st, 2020,
okay.
sorry. To Rise Above. And that's where I've been since. And I absolutely like love it there. I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to be released, because like, I'll tell you right now, I didn't even think that was going to be an option. When they denied me for state drug court because the feds were planning to indict me, I didn't think there was any hope of me getting released. And so like my gratitude is insane. Like, I'm grateful for every little thing, because I don't know where I would be right now had it not been, you know, the way it played out. You know what I mean? So I feel like I'm talking an awful lot.
It's your show. It's literally your show.
I know.
Are you kidding me? They hear me talk every week. They don't hear me talking to you.
Right.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So.
Wow. I'm blown away.
Yeah.
This is a lot. You ladies are miracles. Like both of you guys tonight, and where you guys have been and where you guys are now. Do you live in the same house as Amanda?
I do.
Wow.
She's my house manager. She's the best. She runs a tight ship, but she's very loving and supporting. And like, she honestly is like a power of example to me. And like the fact that like we don't have the same story, but we have similar like mindset on like the fact that we're just so grateful to be sober, because where we came from to where we are now is just insane. So like, I really look to her for like guidance and support, like, and not just her, but like there's other women in the house that I can lean on as well. Like, and like for me, if I didn't have human connection, I'd be screwed. Like, that's probably the biggest part of my recovery process this time, is that like, I'm not afraid to talk to somebody when I'm having like struggling with something. I'm not afraid to like ask for help this time around. Where I used to like try to control everything and like do it on my own. And like, that's impossible. At least for me it is, you know what I mean? It's just not, it's not okay. My biggest thing is that like, I've trusted my process this time too. And I've been extremely patient, like, cause not everything happens when you want it to happen. You know what I mean? And like, it's crazy that I say that, because like, when I wanted something, I just go get it, right? Like when I was in active addiction. But like, that's not how things work. Like, we only get one life. Like, my biggest thing is stop and smell the roses, right? Take your time. Take your time. Like, easy does it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to rush. You know what I mean? We only get one life, so why not take our time, right? So like, that's been like a huge part of my last 15 months, has been like just like trusting where I'm at, trusting like the process I'm going through. And like, I've had like huge growth within myself. Like, and it's so great like when other people see it, but when I see it within myself, it's even better. You know what I mean? Like, when I came into Rise Above, I was all over the place. Amanda said, oh my God, I'm going to have my hands full with her. And like, now I can actually sit with myself. I don't have to be out running around doing a bunch of things. Like, I can sit with self and like be okay. And like, I can look in the mirror today and go, wow, you're beautiful. I love you. You're killing it. Like, I can look in the mirror and actually say that to myself and believe it. Like, insane. Insane. You know what I mean? Like, those are the things that, like, these little things, like, I don't have a bunch of materialistic stuff in my life right now, but I have everything I need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like, of course, there's things that, like, I don't have in my life right now, which are, like, my children. But, like, with my legal situation, I got to put my kids first with that and not try to be greedy and bring my kids into my life, because God forbid I go to prison.
Yeah.
And then they lose their mother again. You know what I mean? So, like, huge growth where, like, before I'd be like, I'm sober, I deserve my children. Like, no, like, everything's gonna happen in God's time. And like, I'm trusting that this time. And I just know it's just different. Like, there's a lot of times I can't explain, but like, this time around is different. I know I fully surrendered, and like, I like trusted in a higher power. Like, that was huge for me in jail. Like, I was in maximum security. I would sit in my cell and I would openly, by myself, openly talk out loud to my higher power. Be like, I trust you, like, I love you, thank
Now,
you
did
for...
you always believe in God?
Honestly, like, I don't know where my belief lies, like, as a religious aspect, but as a spiritual aspect, I know I have a higher power looking out for me. At this point in time, I don't know what to call it.
Yeah.
But I know. Because I had so many God shots in the last 15 months. It's insane. I mean, I call my higher power God. I just don't know what that
Yeah,
belief
because
is.
what do you call, like, right?
Right.
Yeah, like, what do you, I don't know.
Right, exactly.
People think that I'm religious because I talk about God so much, but people that like know me, that are like in my like inner workings of my circle, like, I just like believe in being kind. I believe that like through an act of love, there's a power, there's an energy, and you can feel that in your heart. I love crystals, dude. I don't even know if they actually really work, but like, I'll rock them, right?
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
And I don't know what God is. I can't define it. I get up at 4:30 in the morning every day and I go running with my dog, and we stop and we look up and we like look at how beautiful the stars are.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm just like, thank you, universe. Keep me small. Keep me small, God. So,
Absolutely.
to all of our viewers at home watching, anyone that's struggling, what do you want to say to them?
I just want to say, like, there's a better way of life. Like, the community I'm in right now in Nashua is like fire. It's lit. Like,
Come through, it's lit.
seriously, like, I call this the hub for recovery in the state of New Hampshire, like, for real. Like, I'm just like, for me, it's human connection, like, support network. I have a huge family support. I've got good human connection, like, and like, I have no problem humbling myself and asking for help. So like, if you're struggling and you want help, or if you're just sick and tired of being sick and tired, there's plenty of places to go to reach out for help, or just reach out to a family member or a loved one, like, and ask for help. Like, because there's a better way of life. Like, if you asked me 15 months ago, like, if I'd be working in a treatment center in sober living, like 15 months clean, I would have told you I was gonna die on the streets, a junkie. Like, I would have never thought that. So like, there's a better way of life, and like, I wouldn't give this up for the world. Like, and I want you all to have it too. And like, if I could ever do anything to help, like, reach out. Thank you.
For someone that was so nervous, you just killed it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
It was an honor having you on.
Thank you so much.
I would love to have both of you back on again.
Absolutely.
Both of you absolutely amaze me and leave me in awe.
Thank you.
So, for those of you at home watching, if anyone would like to get a hold of Shannon, please message our Facebook page. I'm a heroin addict and would be more than happy to find a way to link you up with her. Anyone looking for resources, please reach out to our Facebook page. I am a heroin addict. It does not matter where in the world you are. We will do our best to try and get you resources. And as always, thank you for sharing your time with us, and we love you.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.